Welcome, beautiful damsels. She walks alone, but the world watches. There's something about a woman who doesn't seek approval, doesn't beg for attention, and doesn't play by anyone's rules but her own. She's not cold. She's just selective. She's not arrogant. She simply knows her worth. She's what men secretly admire, fear, and obsess over, but will never admit. Fact. Studies show that people are psychologically drawn to mystery. The less someone reveals, the more others crave to understand them. Sigma females, they're a living, breathing enigma, walking paradoxes wrapped in quiet confidence. Men won't say it out loud, but they think about Sigma females more than they care to admit. Why? Because she doesn't just break the mold, she burns it. And whether they find her irresistible, intimidating, or downright frustrating, you see, one thing is certain: they can't ignore her. Let's dive into the 10 things men secretly think about Sigma females, but will never say. Buckle up, this is going to get interesting. Number 1, she's not one of the guys, but she's not like other women either. Most women fit into familiar categories. Some are outgoing and social, others are reserved and bookish, some lean into their femininity, while others prefer to be one of the guys. But a Sigma female, she doesn't fit anywhere neatly. She's not the loudest in the room, but she's also not shy. She's not trying to impress men, but she's not indifferent to them either. She's not one of the guys, yet she doesn't thrive in the typical female social circles. This throws men off completely. She moves in her own lane, unbothered by group dynamics or expectations. She doesn't need to prove her femininity, nor does she water down her strength to be more likable. This makes men uncomfortable in a way they can't quite explain. They're used to reading women a certain way, either as flirtatious, friendly, indifferent, or combative. But the Sigma female doesn't give clear cues. She'll engage in deep, intellectual conversations but won't flirt just to stroke egos. She might listen intently but won't react emotionally just because that's what's expected. This lack of predictability leaves men unsure of how to categorize her. She's not just a friend because there's an undeniable presence about her. But she's also not the typical romantic interest because she doesn't play into traditional courtship. She exists outside the script that most men are used to following, which makes them intrigued and unsettled at the same time. They don't know if they should step up, back off, or just observe from a distance. And that confusion, it keeps her lingering in their minds long after she's gone. Number 2. She's intimidating, but I can't look away. There's something about her that makes a man hesitate, not out of fear, but out of sheer uncertainty. She doesn't try to be intimidating, yet she is. She's not loud, she's not aggressive, and she's definitely not playing hard to get. She simply exists in a way that commands attention without asking for it. That alone is enough to make men nervous. Most people, whether they admit it or not, seek some form of validation. They want to be noticed, appreciated, or reassured. But a Sigma female, she moves through life as if external approval is an afterthought. She won't compete for attention in a crowded room, yet somehow people find themselves drawn to her. That silent confidence, unapologetic and unshaken, disrupts the usual dynamics. Men are used to women who either seek attention openly or reject it dramatically. She does neither. And that unpredictability makes her impossible to ignore. She also carries an air of mystery, not because she's playing a role, but because she simply doesn't overshare. She doesn't fill silences just to make others comfortable. She doesn't laugh at jokes she doesn't find funny. She doesn't flirt just because it's expected. This leaves men second-guessing themselves. They wonder, does she find me interesting? Am I boring her? And before they know it, they're thinking about her more than they should. Even men who are used to being in control find themselves off balance around her. They don't know whether to pursue her or wait for a sign, because she gives nothing away for free. That mix of intimidation and fascination, it's addictive. And once she's in their head, she's not leaving anytime soon. Number 3. Is she even interested, or am I wasting my time? Most women, even the reserved ones, drop hints when they're interested. A lingering glance, a playful tease, a quick response to a text, something to let a man know he's on the right track. But a Sigma female, she's unreadable. She could be deeply intrigued or completely indifferent, and a man wouldn't know the difference. That's the kind of power she holds without even trying. She doesn't play games. but she also doesn't give away her emotions freely. Men are used to either obvious attraction or clear disinterest. With her, there's no roadmap. She could enjoy his company, but that doesn't mean she needs it. She could find him attractive, but that doesn't mean she'll pursue him. He might make her laugh, but that doesn't mean he's won her over. And that drives men crazy. The usual rules don't apply. If he pulls away to test her interest, she won't chase him. She might not even notice. If he showers her with attention, she won't automatically reciprocate. She values authenticity over effort. If he tries to make her jealous, she'll just mentally check out. She doesn't respond to pressure, games, or emotional bait. This leaves men overanalyzing every interaction. Did she smile because she likes me? Or was she just being polite? Is she busy or is she avoiding me? Does she see me as a friend or is there something more? The uncertainty keeps them hooked, but also makes them question if they're wasting their time. And that's the catch. Only she decides if a man is worth her energy. If he has to wonder for too long, chances are he already has his answer. Number 4. She's unaffected by power, looks, or wealth. So what does impress her? Most men have a general idea of what impresses women: status, good looks, financial success, or at the very least, charm. These things work most of the time, but with a Sigma female, they're useless. A man could have a 6-figure income, a luxury car, or the kind of face that turns heads, and she wouldn't even blink if there's nothing deeper beneath the surface. This throws men off completely. It's not that she's against power, wealth, or attraction. She just doesn't see them as a free pass. Compliments? She's heard them all before. Grand gestures? They feel forced. Status? Meaningless if he lacks substance. She doesn't care what society considers impressive. She cares about what feels real. And since most men are used to at least some level of admiration for these things, they secretly wonder, if none of this works, then what does? The truth is, she's drawn to presence, self-mastery, and authenticity. A man who is fully at ease with himself, not performing for approval, is far more intriguing to her than one who needs to be seen as important. She notices the way he carries himself when no one's watching, how he handles challenges without seeking validation, and whether his confidence is real or just for show. If he's trying too hard to impress her, he's already lost. This is why men secretly stress over her. She forces them to step outside the usual game and actually be someone worth noticing. And for those who rely on surface-level attraction, she's a nightmare, because nothing they do will ever be enough. Number 5. She has standards that I'm not even sure I meet. Most women make their standards known, whether through direct statements, subtle hints, or the kind of men they entertain. But a Sigma female? She doesn't tell you her standards, she simply lives by them. And that's what makes men second-guess themselves. She won't sit a man down and say, I need this, this, and this. Instead, she observes. She watches how he moves, how he speaks, how he handles challenges. If he meets her standards, she'll engage. If he doesn't, she won't argue, she won't criticize, she'll just disengage. That's what unnerves men the most. There's no warning, no conversation about what went wrong. One day she's there. The next, she's already mentally checked out. What makes it even more frustrating is that her standards aren't based on shallow things like looks, wealth, or status. She values depth, consistency, and self-respect. A man could be attractive and successful, but if he's insecure, boastful, or weak-minded, he won't even be in the running. And since she never outright states her expectations, men are left wondering, do I even stand a chance? This creates a silent pressure that most men aren't used to. They realize they can't charm or manipulate their way into her life. They either rise to her level naturally, or they don't exist in her world at all. Number 6. She's feminine, but there's something dangerous about her. There's a certain softness to her. She's not loud, she's not hostile, and she's not trying to dominate anyone. She moves with grace, speaks with intention, and never forces her presence on a room. On the surface, she's the picture of quiet femininity. But beneath that, there's something undeniably dangerous about her, and men feel it even if they can't explain it. It's not the kind of danger that comes from recklessness or aggression. It's the kind that comes from complete self-possession. She doesn't react emotionally to pressure. She doesn't chase after people. and she doesn't need external validation to feel whole. That level of self-control is lethal in a world where most people are desperate to be seen, understood, or adored. It means she can walk away from anyone, even someone she loves, if they don't align with her standards. And that terrifies men more than any attitude or argument ever could. There's also an unpredictability about her. Not in a chaotic way, but in the sense that no one ever really knows what she's thinking. Is she interested? Is she testing him? Does she see right through his act? A man could be used to charming women with ease, but with her, that same charm might fall flat. That makes her both irresistible and unsettling, because she operates on a level that most aren't prepared for. Men don't fear her in the traditional sense, but they do recognize that she's not someone to be played with. She won't fight for dominance, but she also won't submit to anyone who isn't truly worthy. And that's why she lingers in their minds long after she's gone. Number 7. She's like a ghost, here one moment, gone the next. One day she's fully present, engaging, sharp, even magnetic. A man feels like he's getting somewhere with her, like he's caught her interest. Then, without warning, she's gone. No drama, no explanation, no slow fade. Just an unannounced disappearance that leaves him questioning everything. She doesn't ghost out of immaturity or mind games. She disappears because she operates on her own time, her own energy, and her own set of priorities. She doesn't need constant connection to feel validated, and she definitely doesn't feel the need to explain her every move. If she feels like being social, she'll show up. If she feels like retreating, she will, without apology. And that kind of unpredictability is maddening for men who are used to women who either chase, cling, or at least give a reason before pulling back. The worst part? She doesn't even acknowledge the pattern. When she reappears, she picks up right where she left off, as if no time has passed. No excuses, no awkwardness, just her usual effortless presence. This leaves men stuck in a cycle of overanalyzing. Did she lose interest? Did I say something wrong? Was she ever really into me? But asking her directly, useless. She won't give a clear answer because, in her mind, she doesn't owe one. This makes her impossible to pin down, but also impossible to forget. Men end up chasing closure they'll never get, replaying past conversations, searching for hidden meanings in her words. But the truth is simple. She moves when she wants, and no one dictates her rhythm. And once a man realizes that, it's already too late. She's long gone. Number 8. I can't decide if she's my dream woman or my worst nightmare. She's the kind of woman who makes a man rethink everything he thought he knew about attraction. On paper, she's the dream. Confident but not arrogant, independent but still feminine, alluring but not attention-seeking. She doesn't need him, and somehow that makes him want her more. She's fascinating, rare, the type of woman he brags about knowing. But beneath that intrigue lies something unsettling, because for all the qualities that make her irresistible, she's also the one woman he can't control, predict, or fully understand. And that's where the nightmare begins. Most men are used to women being at least somewhat readable. Even the strong ones still drop hints about what they want, what they need, and how to win them over. But with a Sigma female? No such luck. She could be madly interested or completely indifferent, and he wouldn't be able to tell. She doesn't react the way others do. She won't beg for attention, she won't get jealous in obvious ways, and she won't chase. If he pulls away, she won't come running. If he messes up, she won't start a fight. She'll simply disappear, and that's what makes her so terrifying. Most men can handle drama, arguments, even high-maintenance personalities. But silence, indifference, a woman who could walk away from him without hesitation, that's a different kind of power. So he's left in this strange, torturous limbo. He admires her, desires her, maybe even needs her, but she also makes him question his own value. He can't decide if she's the best thing that's ever happened to him, or the one woman who will ruin him forever. Either way, one thing is certain, he'll never forget her. Number 9, she doesn't need me, and that bothers me. For most men, there's a certain satisfaction in being needed. It's validating, even empowering, to know that someone relies on you, whether it's emotionally, financially, or otherwise. It's a quiet confidence boost, a constant reminder that you play a vital role in someone's life. But when it comes to the Sigma female, this concept is turned completely on its head. She doesn't need anyone, not in the traditional sense, and that can be deeply unsettling for men who are used to being the provider, protector, or emotional anchor in relationships. She doesn't demand your help, she doesn't seek your validation, and she doesn't give you the usual signs of dependency that men are used to. She's self-sufficient in a way that feels almost foreign. She makes her own decisions, controls her own life, and doesn't look to anyone for guidance. And while that's incredibly admirable, it's also something that makes men question their place in her world. Most men secretly crave the feeling of being indispensable. They like knowing they're needed for something, whether it's to fix a problem, offer support, or just be there when things get tough. With her, though, there's no sense of urgency. She'll be fine on her own, no matter what. This leaves men wondering, what role do I play in her life? They don't want to be just a placeholder or a backup plan. But with her, there's no clear definition. She doesn't rely on him emotionally, financially, or for validation, and that absence of need makes him question whether he's even necessary. And that, in turn, stirs up a sense of insecurity he doesn't often deal with. It's not that he doesn't want to be with her, it's that he starts to feel like he's fighting for a spot in her life that may not even exist. And that makes him want her even more. The mystery of where he fits into her world becomes all-consuming, and the lack of dependency only intensifies the desire to prove his worth. Number 10. She's more mysterious than a player, but without the games. A player uses mystery as a tool, an intentional, calculated way to keep someone on edge, guessing, and ultimately hooked. It's a strategy, a way to create uncertainty so that the other person becomes obsessed with filling in the blanks. The Sigma female, however, is different. Her mystery isn't a game, it's just who she is. And that's what makes her so unsettling. Where players will flirt, withdraw, and create drama to keep someone guessing, the Sigma female does none of that. She doesn't need to engage in mind games because her mere presence is enough to keep a man intrigued. She doesn't work for his attention, she doesn't manipulate him with emotional highs and lows. She doesn't even have to try to be enigmatic. Her actions are subtle, calm, composed, and completely under her control. Men might feel an instinctive need to figure her out, but the difference is, she doesn't give them the tools to do so. This leaves them wondering, is she really interested, or is she just being polite? Does she see me as a friend, or is there something more? She doesn't drop hints or lead them on, yet somehow they feel like they're constantly trying to decipher her. And that's where the confusion sets in. Because in the back of their minds, there's the nagging feeling that maybe they're the ones being played. The Sigma female doesn't toy with people's emotions, yet she's able to keep them on their toes just by being herself. And that's far more powerful than any game a player could ever play. In the end, the Sigma female doesn't conform to any expectations, and that's exactly why she leaves such a lasting impact. She's not playing by anyone's rules, nor does she care to. She's unapologetically herself, self-sufficient, intelligent, and unpredictable. And that paradox is what keeps men both drawn to her and baffled by her. Her power lies not in what she demands, but in what she doesn't need. She doesn't need to chase validation, to be seen, or to be understood. She simply exists, and that existence is magnetic in a way that disrupts everything men think they know about attraction. They can't categorize her, they can't read her, and most importantly, they can't possess her. That mystery becomes an obsession, one that's both exhilarating and terrifying. And for those who think they've figured her out, she'll always keep them guessing. Perhaps that's the most profound thing about her. She doesn't offer closure, she doesn't play to expectations, and she doesn't apologize for being unapologetically herself. And in a world full of noise where everyone is striving for attention, that kind of quiet power, untouchable yet ever-present, is the rarest thing of all. She's not just unforgettable, she's a revelation. She forces men to confront the idea that true strength doesn't demand acknowledgement, it simply is. And maybe, just maybe, that's the greatest thing they'll ever learn. If this gave you a fresh perspective or made you think twice about the complexities of the Sigma female, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Like the video if you enjoyed the deep dive into what makes her so captivating. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear how you feel about this mysterious yet powerful persona. And if you think someone else would find this intriguing, share it with them. Let's keep the conversation going, because there's so much more to uncover. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks, damsels, for tuning in. See you in the next vid. Bye and stay blessed.